Most people with their copy, they just go real broad because they're like, well, I just want to, I want to make sure it resonates with as many people as I possibly can. And that's a bad mistake because when you try to appeal to everybody, you basically appeal to nobody. Okay. Hey, everybody, in this video, I'm going to show you how an automated cold email opener, also known as an icebreaker or intro line, got me a 24% reply rate with my cold emails. And in case you don't know me, my name is Patrick Spielman, founder at Upticks, which is the only software where you can get all of your cold outreach done and your sales and get the best email deliverability on the planet. So before we get started, I got a little warning. The results from this are not typical, and I'm not guaranteeing your performance that you can also replicate this, but I'm going to dare you to try it, all right? Most people think that, you really just need to write some sort of half-baked email, especially if you're getting started with cold email. Grab the biggest, cheapest lead list you possibly can and use any software and just start blasting out emails in order to, land in the inbox and start getting results, and that, success is just right around the corner. But especially if you're new to cold email, that's deadly wrong. And it's the biggest recipe that you can do to completely fail with cold email. All right. First of all, you need to understand that copy matters. Your copywriting, the words that you're saying in your email matters. Your lead lists matter. And the software that you use matters. Everything matters to get really good results with email, and especially this level, right? I'm an expert level at this with copywriting, with outreach, with marketing, all that kind of stuff. But the biggest thing you need to understand is there's a difference between being a spammer and being a cold emailer. Spammers don't care about all the little microcosms, right? They don't care about copy. They don't care about, having quality lead lists. They don't care about the software as long as it sends as many emails as you possibly can, right? You do not want to be a spammer. You want to be a really good cold emailer. All right. So I'm going to show you in this video how we use these openers to get really good reply rates. And just so you're aware, open rates are, the opening line of your email matters the most of any part of your email that you have, okay? The most important thing. Don't nerd out on call to actions. Don't nerd out on really anything else other than openers. Now, to get started here, this is the part 2 of another video that I did for how to get clients using a stupid, simple cold email template, right? So this document that I have that I'm sharing with you has a framework for the cold email template that we use. All right, so in this video, I'm going to get into how we write the openers. All right, and just so you're aware, here's the initial test campaign that we use for this. Our A/B test between our opener 1, opener 2, and how the B test here got a 24% reply rate. In case you think I'm making it up, here's the actual campaign from it. I'll even do a refresh on the screen so you know that the stats aren't made up. You should never trust any sort of guru online telling you that they're getting really good rates, right? 24% reply rate. Okay. And I had a 9% on the A test. All right, so I'm going to show you how we got a big difference. So the first thing here is you need to understand your persona. I know you're thinking, oh, this is boring stuff. I just want to write an email and start blasting out as many emails as I can. And again, everything matters, as I said. So, and you don't want to be a spammer. You want to be a good cold emailer. So the first step here before you even do anything is understand the people that you're actually going to be emailing, which, starts with research. Okay. Now here's the steps that I go through for researching, right? So I research what are my prospects' deepest desires. Now with tools like ChatGPT now, this has made it a little bit easier, right? You can type in, if you're going after SaaS founders, what are the deepest desires of any early stage SaaS company, right? And it's not going to be perfect in terms of what it comes back and tells you, but it's going to give you, a good idea. And from there, we want to dive into the problems and frustrations. What kind of problems do they have with their little realm? If they're a founder, what kind of problems they have growing, an early stage SaaS company? If they're VP of sales, what kind of problems do they experience with managing their outbound campaigns, right? And what are the implications of those problems? Okay. So if they experience those problems, what happens with those problems? All right. What happens? So can they lose their job? Right? Can they, not get promoted? Right? There's a lot of different things. And just understanding this stuff doesn't necessarily mean we're going to use all of it in copy. Understand that, right? But what we're doing is we're going through a brain exercise to really understanding, our prospects. From there, once we've done that research, we want to go through a copywriting exercise. Okay. Now, the way we do this and why it's important, first of all, if we're going to approach our prospects, one of the biggest things I see people do, and the reasons why they fail with cold email, is they think of a generalized topic with their cold email, or really anything, to be honest with you. Whether it be, cold email outreach, whether it be, marketing. I see a lot of people just going real broad. They're so worried about losing prospects that they go really broad with their messaging. And the way I would describe this, so like for upticks, for instance, like one of the main topics that we, sort of focus on is increasing people's sales, right? And I like to describe the topic like a country. So think of a map, right? And a country is very broad, okay? And most people with their copy, they just go real broad because they're like, well, I just want to, I want to make sure it resonates with as many people as I possibly can. And that's a bad mistake because when you try to appeal to everybody, you basically appeal to nobody. Okay. And I always tell people I'd rather get 100% reply rate with 10 or 15% of my lead list than a 2% reply rate from the entire thing, right? You got 100 leads, you get a 2% reply rate, two people reply, right? You got 100 leads, you get a 10% reply rate, or 100% reply rate from 10% of them, you're going to get 10 replies. Okay. And that's the big problem with going real broad on your topic. So what do? We want to think a little bit more specific, right? So start to think of a subtopic, and a subtopic is like a state within a country. Okay. And if we were to pick a subtopic from helping people increase sales, we might focus on, as upticks, we might focus on outbound sales, right? Okay. Which is what we do. All right. But even there, like now, so when you go from topic to subtopic, you're niching in a little bit further more than most people that are reaching out to your prospects with real generalized messaging. Okay. So doing this one step gets things even more specific, and most people aren't doing that. Okay. But still, it's not good enough, right? So a subtopic still isn't as detailed and isn't going to help people hit an emotional trigger in their brain as much as we possibly could. So once we've identified a subtopic, we want to pick a niche, and a niche is like a city. Okay. And the way I describe this with upticks is cold email. Okay. So I've decided as we've gone to market with upticks does a lot of things. Okay. It's the best cold emailing software for, especially for, deliverability is you can get on the market. Okay. A lot of really nerdy things, but we've also got a CRM. We've got sales automation, sales enablement, but it's all focused around sales. But instead of trying to sell the whole platform, we've niched into cold email. Okay, as a starting point. And then we let people peel back the onion and figure out that, like, wow, Upticks does a lot more than just cold email. All right. But now we want to take it even a step further. We want to pick a micro niche. And I like to describe this as a superpower. So think of your service, your product, right? Pick a micro niche. So within cold email, we focus on particularly, as of right now, email deliverability. Now, this is what we call a superpower. So when I get on calls or I describe upticks to people, I say all these things that it does, and I always make sure to tell them, but our superpower is email deliverability. Why do I pick that? One, I know people don't understand it, right? People know it's a problem, and it's a big enough problem that most people, or a good segment of people in our lead list, experience it, say 50%, and that enough people have a problem with it to experience some sort of emotional trigger if I reach out to them regarding email deliverability. Okay. Hope that makes sense. But you want this micro niche, and this micro niche is how we want to approach people with our emails. Once you've identified that micro niche, your superpower, you want to think about the things that might resonate with your prospect within that little superpower that you've built. Okay. So for us, email deliverability, what are a couple things that go into that superpower? It could be impacted, right? Our open rates and our reply rates. Okay. Now, these are different angles, but there's two things here that are going to resonate with the prospect. That's the other piece to this, is you want the superpower micro niche. You sort of want it to resonate with your prospect. Okay, we're going to come back to this open rate and reply rate a little bit later, but you want two contrasting angles to approach your prospects using your superpower, your micro niche. Okay. Now I'm going to come back to this in just a little bit. Before we get into any of the copywriting aspect of it, in order to get, these 24% reply rates, there's some other things that matter in here, right? Email deliverability, as I've talked about, right? Like you can't get 24% reply rates if you don't do a number of other things really good. So first of all, I always suggest using a multi-domain and multi-inbox strategy. Now, I have other training for this. I'll get to it in just a little bit, and I got a free resource for you. So just stay to the end, and I'll tell you and show you exactly where to access that. All right. So in order to get the best email deliverability, to get those 20, well, might not get the 24% reply rate, but to maximize your reply rates as much as you can, I suggest using multi-domain inbox setup. Make sure all your DNS records are set up. You got to warm up your new inboxes, your new domains. Your software needs to do a human-like sending algorithm, right? It needs to have human-like delays between your emails. You should be using Spintax. Okay, I've got another video again on all of this stuff and why it matters. So if you're new to cold email or you're an expert at cold email and you're not doing some of this stuff, I suggest watching some of my other content, right? Our email validation. So with the campaign I showed you above, we were getting overall less than a 2% bounce rate. By the time you factor our calculator, we had like 7 bounces or something like that, 6 bounces. And we got 86% open rates. Okay, so in order to get really, really high reply rates, you got to get really good open rates. So the next piece of it, with your copywriting in particular, after your email deliverability, is your subject line. You want to use a meaningful problem-based subject line. Okay, the way I would describe this and what we use for our campaign is the subject line said reply problem. Okay, so with our prospects, one, it's going to make them scratch their head a little bit, but two, we want it to mean something to them. So if we're approaching sales managers, VPs of sales, or even early stage founders, getting an email with a reply, like saying reply problem, it might be somewhat familiar to them. Okay, so we want to use a meaningful based subject line in order to really maximize those open rates. Then our opener, our opening line of our email, we want to use a desire based email. Okay, so let me show you exactly how we did our A/B test. So our A test was contact first name. Curious if your outbound campaigns are hitting 71% open rates for company name. Okay, so that was our A test that got a 9% reply rate, and we tested this on a broader scale, and this angle, always performed the worst of the two. Second one is contact first name. Curious if your sales campaigns are bringing at least 11% replies for company name. All right, so this is what got us the 24% reply rate. Now we have a little bit of a cheat code in that we're approaching them with a reply-based opener, and it's helped us get a reply. So where I'm guaranteeing, I'm not guaranteeing 24% reply rates, but this is the logic that we're using and this is really the only thing that matters to get the best reply rates is your opening line. So when you write your cold emails, in order to automate them, what you need to do is you need to focus on contrasting differences with your opening line. So this angle, we took open rates. This angle, we took reply rates. So think about your product, your service that you're pitching. And when you do an A/B test with cold email campaigns, find contrasting opening lines. What I notice often when people do A/B testing is they're A/B testing real micro things, even like call to actions. A lot of people get obsessed with call to actions. And instead of testing anything else, they're testing call to actions. You should always, always, always test your opening line through and through several times before you even touch your call to action. Because when people open your emails, the first thing that they're going to see is going to be your opener line. And the only thing that's going to keep them really hooked and engaged to continue reading the email is going to be the opening line. Okay, there's several other things that go into it. I don't have time for it all in this video to go through. And I did separate training going through all these different things within the email to ultimately, help lead us to getting the really good open rates, really good reply rates, and really good booking rates, so on and so forth. But this is all about the reply rates and the opener. Contrasting differences between the A test and the B test. All right, so some microcosms within here are, I really like to use numbers. So curious if your outbound campaigns, okay, that's like the theme, right? And although you'll see here, email deliverability is our domino, which again, another training. We want to implant words that they're familiar with and things that matter and desire based. Okay. So curious if your outbound campaigns are hitting 71%. So we've hit them with a meaningful problem, right? Reply problem. And then a desire-based opener. Curious if your sales campaigns are bringing at least 11% replies for upticks. This is a desire-based. What I oftentimes see people doing are using problem-based openers and like quick question is the subject line, or you're using like you're inserting the person's name and stuff like that. Like that's not really what gets the results. We want We want a subject line that means something to them, right? And we want a desire-based opener so the whole email builds on itself. Problem, desire, domino, micro niche, superpower, educate, realistic achievement-based call to action. Okay. But curious if your sales campaigns are bringing at least 11% reply rates. Now they're probably thinking, well, no, I'm not getting an 11% reply rate. No, I'm not getting a 71% open rate. We want them to come, like, we want them to desire an outcome, right? So whatever it is that you do, think about a desire based outcome that they can think about in their head and want to achieve. Like, we're not really pitching them here, right? We're not selling them. We're implanting a desire, and we're piquing curiosity. Hey, curious if your outbound campaigns are getting 11% reply rate or 71% open rate. Okay. So you want to make this number believable, right? And achievable, of course. But you also want to make sure that you know that they're probably not getting that, right? And for us, it's a little bit easier because we've got numbers. So if you have numbers, like a lot of business people, really numbers oriented, unless you're prospecting, HR people or something like that, right? So you really want this opening line to be desire based. And it really can be this simple. All right. Curious if you're, just input whatever it is that you're selling. And then if you have like a number based outcome, put a number based outcome or desire in there. Needs to be believable, needs to be achievable, but also needs to be to the level where you know they're not accomplishing that, and you want them to think about like the possibility of them getting that. And ultimately, what we're trying to do is trying to get people to convince themselves to reply by thinking about the desire they really want in their business as it relates to what you're pitching, right? And again, I'm not going to go through the rest of the email here. All right. In the beginning of the video, I talked about I was going to give you a free resource. Before I get to that, I hope this was super helpful. Comment down below with any questions that you have possible about this, and I'll reply back to you personally. Okay, happy to help out. Now, in order to get access to that free course, which I have a lot of valuable information here about email deliverability, writing emails, lead lists, writing personalized emails, getting result with email, warm up, a whole bunch of stuff. If you scroll down below in this document, you can click this link and you'll get access to my course. When you click that link, you're going to have an opportunity to register for my private coaching and university program where I store all my courses. That link in particular is going to take you to my Cold Email Like a Pro free course, where first of all, starting out, I'm going to teach you all about email deliverability. I've even got a checklist in here for getting the best email deliverability possible. You just click that link. All right. And then I'm going to teach you the entire strategy, cold email marketing strategy, how to write emails, the new cold email framework I talked about previously in that doc, how to get 40% reply rates with personalized cold email, list building, avoiding spam, the best software, and what features you need for the best deliverability. Newsflash, it's upticks, but nonetheless, I teach you about a lot of important things for deliverability and features, and then email warm up. All right, so that's a free course, absolutely free. All you got to do is click that link in the doc, and you'll be able to get access to it. And then if you want to go really crazy and you want to join me in the Cold to Gold email challenge, I've launched a cold email challenge. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, click this link here. It's going to take you to this landing page. You can register for this webinar. I'm going to teach you a few things, and there, you can learn a little bit about cold email in addition to the course as well. And then you'll learn about how you can join the Cold to Gold email challenge. And if you get the inkling and you use the best email platform for cold outreach and all your sales, then I'd love for you to sign up for Upticks. If we added any sort of value in this video, I'd certainly appreciate it. All right. But I hope this video was helpful, and I hope it helps you, increase your reply rates using automated openers, icebreakers, intro lines, so on and so forth. Got a lot of value. Hit thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. Until next time, we'll see you guys soon. Thanks.